All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Chasing Edges podcast. Got the return of Dr. Thoma back for episode number 2. Doc, how we doing?
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Easy, dude. Pumped to have you back. You know the drill now. Where are you curious? Where are you learning?
Since we last talked, what we were talking about just by text earlier today, by the end of 2023, I want to have at least 50% of the produce that I consume is grown by me. And then by the so by the end of 2022, 50% of produce, I want to be growing it and eating it. And then by the end of 2023, I want 100% of my produce to be grown by myself. So yeah, like I've been doing a little bit of study on like soil and like it really, nature has all of the everything for us. Like we just screw it up and just try to make things complicated with whatever like technology. So yeah, I've been focusing on just raising vegetables, produce, and soil.
I got you. How are you doing greenhouses out there? Because you're in Scottsdale. It's got to be pretty tough on produce growing.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Really starting now. So what we're doing is me and a buddy, we're building a greenhouse, and it's made of special. The roof is going to be made of special material to try to decrease that heat as much as we can. Obviously, like when it's 117 degrees, it's going to be challenging, but we're going to do a special. We already actually have the roof on it. We're going to do a special type of roof, and then we're going to have misters coming from above, drip irrigation at the surface level, and then we're going to have a fan going to try to keep things cool. But in Arizona, even though it's pretty warm in the summertime, you can still do pretty good growing like a lot of like herbs. Obviously, like that's not going to be enough to like live off of. But I think that we're going to be able to do like sweet potatoes, just really just growing in season. And there's all kinds of information on what to plant, when to plant it. So if you just go by those guidelines, like I think we're going to be good. And then there's an awesome farmer near here. If you guys have the chance, check out Sing Meadows. The owner, his name is Ken Singh, Singh. This guy's brilliant. Met him a couple weeks ago and have learned quite a bit from him on just like soil and just how to raise your own produce.
Yeah, because so I've listened to some podcasts on like obviously the overcropping and the soil quality, like just the destroying of the microbiome and the top of the soil, like all those things. So like is that what spurred this push to produce your own produce on?
There are a couple things. I've always obviously like I've always been into health, and I go to like natural grocers. Sometimes I'll go to Whole Foods if I'm in a pinch, but why not like raise your own produce? It is obviously like a little bit of work and not as convenient as just head over to natural grocers, pick up like a stalk of celery and have at it. But once you learn and you get into this routine, it's just like anything else. It's just like working out. It's just like breath work, meditation, whatever you're into. Like it's just setting up these routines, and then it just becomes a part of like your day. Like I'm germinating some cantaloupe and cucumber seeds, and I sent that picture to you.
Yeah.
Last week, I'm looking at it, and it's these cups of just soil, and I set the seeds into the dirt about it was like 2 weeks ago, and they just sat there, and I'm like, man, it's not going to work. And then so last Saturday night, I'm like sitting there and like talking with the seeds.
Yeah.
and there it's just flat dirt. And then I wake up on Sunday morning, and they're like, they just shot up like overnight. It's freaking amazing. So out of all the seeds that I germinated, I think we got about a 50% success rate on germination. So dude, I'm pumped.
Yeah, let's go, dude. Then you're talking about eating seasonally as well, just to like rotate foods. Like what's the benefit of all this, the eating seasonally?
Yeah, absolutely. So That's the thing. Like if you try to grow peaches in the wintertime, it's not going to happen. So if you follow what nature has given you, with light, temperature, electromagnetics of the earth, then you're going to be eating in season. Like it's really going to force you to, which is super important, because light and the electromagnetic field of the earth is what allows these things to thrive and grow in these certain environments. And if you don't have them, you're not going to grow them. So that's another thing that we've talked about so much in the past is, I believe that the frequencies of light that hit your body should match the frequencies of light that hit your food. And if you have a disharmony in any of that, I think that it can lead to chronic illness and disease. But even if it is like you're eating peaches, like if you're eating peaches in December, like, and you live in the northern hemisphere, that's just not it doesn't match your circadian rhythm.
Yeah, that's interesting to start pulling food into the circadian rhythm concept as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the food and like cycling off food for food allergies and stuff makes sense, and then like the general logic of eating seasonally also makes sense. Like, but I've never thought of it into the depth of, oh, that's the light that it's getting, it's the light that I'm getting. So why would those not be in sync? Like what? So I guess like, what's the difference in sync of like circadian rhythm of a food that's outside of your, like the light you're getting? Like what's the concept there? Does that make sense?
So I think I understand what you're asking. So like, the like a peach seed needs, it needs a certain wavelength of light, and peaches in Arizona and really in the northern hemisphere come into season with all the rest of the stone fruits, which it's going to be like June, July, August. And those come into season because of the frequencies of light. That's one of the things, which I think light is actually number one. But though those seeds require a specific wavelength of light, or wavelengths of light. It's not just one wavelength. It's a whole spectrum. But those seeds require the wavelengths that are more prevalent in like May, June, or really even before, because you need to plant the seed before.
That makes sense though. It's because like I've talked to a bunch of people now about different concepts of light and energy and whatever EMFs and all those kind of things, where like Darren O'Lean, he's like a superfood hunter. He has a show on Netflix with Zac Efron called Down to Earth, but we talked to him about the effect of really everything on the water you consume. And so like everything, so like say your water comes from South America or wherever the bottle says it comes from, and that kind of thing, but like how it's transported, what it's transported in, the altitude the water goes to, and then like how long has it been sitting still before you drink it. So like a lot of those things came into play when we started breaking down water. Is like, one, you want it to be like have energy and be flowing, so like you should like stir or spin your water, and then obviously like avoid the plastics and make sure that like, so if you can get glass, which I mean, like you put me on like the Mountain Valley water years ago, and I was eventually the Mountain Valley sent me some cases of water because like I would order, because I mean I did the same thing you did. I would order like 8 24 packs or 8 12 packs of Mountain Valley at a time, just to like make sure while I was playing that I got like good hydration and good water. And then I was just out in Montana, Idaho, like camping for 6 days, and we were just drinking right out of the stream, dude, right out of the river, and it was dynamite. And like you just taste the quality of the water. It's awesome.
And you didn't filter it?
Didn't filter it, no, like water straw or whatever those are called. Like yes, right out. Like it was didn't boil it, like just filling up our water bottles out of the river. It was awesome.
Pristine, man.
Yeah, dude. And just like, yeah, like you'll get a little graininess to it, but like the water is freaking refreshing. It was, yeah, I still, that was one of my favorite parts, is just like, yeah, dipping the water and rolling.
That's awesome. And with what you were talking about with was his name Dean?
Darren O'Lean. Yeah.
Darren, got you. So yeah, like when you're out in nature and that water is just being hugged by the earth, and then light is hitting it. And then you said that you were in Montana. That's going to be high altitude. So that's going to be probably from like melting snow.
Yep.
Like that's going to be like some of the highest quality. I don't know if you have you ever read like any of like Gerald Pollack's work?
No, I haven't. But what books are you talking about? Just so I can look into them in the future.
He has a book. It's called Fourth Phase of Water, and honestly, I haven't read it completely, but I've read a lot of it, and I've read a lot of his research. And basically, he has found that water actually has more than just three phases. There's a fourth phase, which is more like almost like an egg white substance, like consistency. And how you get that is by red and near infrared light.
Interesting. So like, what's the first three phases?
So you know the phases of water, it's going to be like ice is going to be solid.
Okay, yeah, I got
liquid
you.
and gas. And
Yeah.
then this fourth one that he found in his research is what he calls like the fourth phase of water. And we can achieve that, and nature achieves it actually naturally, like from I'm sure that the water that you're drinking is going to have higher amounts of I don't think it's not like surface tension, but you're basically going to be charging the water through the electrical field of the earth, and then the wavelengths coming from the sun. And water, the water is H2O. It's polar, which means that when light hits it, you basically like I'm not a chemist, but like I think you can get like charge separation, which that is like when water's like, that's when it's like the healthiest. And that's like when our cells are the healthiest too. Like in our mitochondria, we have electrons entering into our cell on one end. That's a negative charge. And then it wants to get down to the other end, which has a positive charge. That flow of electrons, that positive to negative, that gradient is what makes someone so healthy. If you have a good flow of electrons, like you're going to be healthy. And it all goes back to water.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I got a buddy. He goes like on Instagram by the Circadian Man, but he always refers to us as batteries, and like we can charge that one end of the battery. And like obviously he's a big sunlight circadian rhythm guy, hence the Instagram handle. But it's the same thing with hydration and grounding and all those things. Like you can literally charge the battery of the human power plant that you are, whatever you want to call it. But
yeah, totally. Our mitochondria, they are just little batteries. And if you have this basically this negative and positive polar ends of these mitochondria, you're going to be healthy, and you're going to be making ATP. And when that drops, whether it's because you're not getting good light or you are exposed to your cell phone radiation all day long, it's a deal breaker, or it's going to take you to that next level.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's funny now, just because we do so much for quote unquote ATP now, just because like from what I've learned about like the NAD drips and the supplements and those kind of things, like the main goal of that is like it whatever can 3x your ATP availability or something like that. So like people are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars and sitting there for 3 hours for a drip to something that they may be able to charge up in the sunlight with good water, you know?
Totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what like all the NAD supplements, the NAD plus, there's definitely like if you look at biochemistry, like when people have high levels of NAD plus, like they're going to be healthy. How do you get that? You can get that through like fasting, you can get it through exercise, and it's all about just creating this gradient where you have a strong negative end and a strong positive end. That's the battery that you're talking about, and that in our mitochondria. And then we're just made up of a ton of cells which house the mitochondria.
Yeah. And just while we're in that realm, just because I got a lot of questions after our last conversation, particularly about the red light, obviously, because like that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to optimize the mitochondria as well with the red light, correct?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And it's the same thing. Red and near infrared light work in the mitochondria really in the same way. And that's creating that electron gradient. And how we get that is one mechanism. I think there's so many different mechanisms to why red and near infrared light are so beneficial, but red and near infrared, when that hits the mitochondria, there's a protein called cytochrome C oxidase. When red and near infrared light hit that, the cytochrome C oxidase, which is, I believe, the fourth protein in the respiratory chain, when that happens, it releases nitric oxide. We don't really want nitric oxide in there due to several reasons, which I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about in like unplugging. But nitric oxide, when that's bound to cytochrome C oxidase, the electrons do not flow as fast. So if you get electron flow that is decreased, then you're not going to be making ATP as well. But when red and near infrared hits that, what happens is cytochrome C oxidase releases the nitric oxide. Nitric oxide then goes into the blood and causes vasodilation. And with a vasodilation, you're going to get increased nutrient delivery to the cell and waste coming out of the cell.
Yeah, that's massive. Yeah.
And why it's so bad to always be like wearing clothes and inside is because that nitric oxide is it's highly reactive to what's called superoxide anions, which we get those from non-native electromagnetic frequencies, like our phone, like this computer, and they create what's called superoxide free radicals. They will damage proteins, they will damage your DNA, they will damage ion channels in the cell. When you start damaging proteins in the cell, game over, because you have to then rebuild the proteins. Rebuilding proteins takes a ton of energy. And then the ion channels, they're proteins as well. When you start getting all this free radical activity around those ion channels, what ends up happening is they get destroyed. So then ion flow into and out of the cell gets disrupted. And then you end up with mineral issues. Like we hear about this all the time, like magnesium issues. Like I definitely think that due to what we were talking about before with soil depletion, like all these like monocropping or like just using just growing celery all year round in the soil, it depletes the soil. But the free radical production from like the non-native electromagnetic frequencies, that destroys the proteins and the DNA. And then, so we have ion channels that get destroyed. We get proteins that get destroyed. And then we get DNA that gets destroyed. Like that's all what's going on in the cell. And that's what makes us who we are. And once you start destroying protein, then what happens is, once you start destroying DNA, then what happens is the way that you make proteins is going to be jacked up. So you're getting like triple whammy here.
Damn. Yeah, it's kind of a compound issue pretty quick, hey?
For sure.
Yeah, that's super intriguing. But yeah, like it's not a complicated solution either. It's just a new habit or the subtraction of some technology and all those things too, which is always probably the answer in general to a lot of things. But as far as red light too, your recommendations for products as far as red light. I like obviously like you got me on Juve a long time ago, and then we did the slow-mo camera test and found out there's flicker to it. So you evolved to the one you have in your house. I think it says EMF on it.
EMR Tech.
EMR
Tech, TEK. So
okay.
EMR TEK.
Okay, bam.
That's
And no flicker,
yeah,
potent. Yeah.
there's no flicker. And the thing is super powerful, man. It's like a fraction of the size that we have at the office. But it just lights up big time.
Are you still on the same protocol where it's like 6 inches away, 4 minutes minimum, that kind of thing? Or is it 10 minutes? Like what's your usual dosage for red light?
It depends. If I'm at the office, I go for 4 minutes. And I'm like about 4 inches away from that.
Okay.
But if I'm at home, I have to I have to be further away because the intensity of the light is just a ton. So I go 12 inches away for 7 minutes. Basically like 12 for that device. The EMR tech, I think it's called a Firestorm. But I'm like 12 to 24 inches away, and I do it for 7 minutes per area on this one because I only have one of them.
Yeah.
So I'll do like top of my head, between my legs, like on my back, and then on my chest.
Why the top of your head?
Because the goo that's in here, that goo needs that infrared light.
The goo meaning your brain, or you're saying
The brain, yeah, for sure.
okay.
I see. If you don't mind,
Yeah, go for it.
the red and near infrared, it really should be on the entire body, but like I don't have 2 hours to sit at home and just have that thing on me. So I pick like the top like 2 to 4 areas, and the top areas are going to be the ones, the areas of the body where you have the highest amount of mitochondria. The highest amount of mitochondria is going to be found in the brain. It's going to be found in the heart, and it's going to be found in the immune system. And that's also why I believe that we have high levels of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, because the brain has so much mitochondria, and we're just not being exposed to good light. We're being exposed to all these artificial lights. And then the immune system, what are we seeing? What's the like buzzword? It's autoimmune. It's just we have high levels of mitochondria in the immune cells. And if you are not getting red and near infrared on your body, whether it's from, please know the sun is number one. The sun is
for sure.
one.
Yeah.
And then I do cheat the system by using the red and near infrared light. But like I do not believe that just these red and near infrared light devices, they're not like they are not just a quick fix. Like you got to have the whole system.
No, I completely agree. And then I just all that stuff just triggers me in general. Like like in Michael Easter's book, and then I found some of the research. It's like polling and those kind of things, but like 93% of Americans' days are spent inside, whether it's like inside a house or inside a car or something along those lines, which is pretty crazy. And then and who knows if that other 7% is even at like peak sunlight hours, like 10 to 2 either. So, and then do they have clothes on? Do you have a shirt on? Whatever. Like really, like how much of a hit are we really taking? And I just think it's something for people to think about in general.
Yeah, totally. When was the last time that you were outside like completely naked? This weekend, right? Or
Yeah.
when you were in Montana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like last time I was out naked, like it's been like forever. Like I go outside and I'll like be in shorts, but like all parts need to be exposed, skin and eyes.
Yeah, for sure. And then no, so I actually I started getting like the sunlight on my ball sack for a little while this last summer, and it was actually pretty like, this is gonna get graphic, but like dude, like my balls were like pulsing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was nuts. I was like, okay, there's something here. Like I'm charging. Yeah.
And like it's, even though it's well, for me it was subtle, but dude, you feel like this, what I felt like an extra warmth. Like,
Yeah.
dude, it's different than like when I go outside and like I have shorts on. Dude, when I expose the guys downstairs, man, I'm telling you, there's like this rush of like, this rush of like warmth that I feel like in my body. It's completely different.
No, I felt the same thing when it like, yeah, but I was just doing the balls, but yeah, but like, and then it's funny just cause, uh, whatever the head coach for Gabe Kapler for the Giants, like back when he was playing, he did that. And I saw like a crazy article on it. So so it's been around, and obviously it's been around since the start of time at some point, but it's something fun to experiment with. And then, yeah, we'll see. Like maybe I'll do blood work with it or something,
And
this next summer.
where I live right now, I have people next door to me. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
kind of tough. But like
yeah,
what I have done in the past is I'll take my shorts and I'll just hike them up and then
yeah,
like sneak the guys off to the side and just let the morning sun hit them. Boom, you're set.
yeah.
Do that for like 5-10 minutes every day, dude. And then test your testosterone.
Yeah, that's right. On in that same category then, because like I've been through a lot of the red light research, and when I'll say red light with quotes, because most of the research is like photobiomodulation, and it's not always the specific like 660 nanometers or whatever it is, research. But you've done some research in your practice in general, or you've clinically applied red light for some clients and yourself, but you've seen some pretty massive results. Can you speak on any of those?
Yeah, actually, one of the more recent cases, we had a 30, mid 30s, young guy who he had chronically low testosterone, and he was coming to the office for like about 3 months. Super busy. So what he ended up doing was getting the EMR techs. He ended up getting 6 of those, and he just he places them like strategically around his body, and he ended up doing it for an additional 2 months after he stopped coming here. And he still comes into the office for other treatments, but so we ended up talking, and he said he showed me his lab work it was like a couple weeks ago, but he was over 900. I can't remember the exact number, but for total testosterone, he was never, he said he can never get it above 300. And this is like so common. Like it was common. It was like my story from like age of 21 to 35. Like my testosterone was never above 300. And then this guy, he was so pumped. And so he ended up actually seeing, there was another doctor that ordered the labs for him. And the doctor was like, are you doing anything? And like he was asking, like, are you doing like any type of testosterone?
Yeah, TRT, yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, no. He's like, I'm doing red light. And the doctor didn't believe him.
Yeah, I mean, like I know because I've tested it where like mine stays like another 200 points up, like in the 900s kind of deal, like 850 to 950 kind of range. But yeah, like but it was a while ago on your Instagram, you had it was yours and maybe another client where it's like going from like 250 to like over 1,000 at one point.
Yeah, actually, I think that if it was the first one that I ever posted, that was actually mine. And
Okay.
it was, I think it was like 253. After 3 months, it went up to like 763. And then after 6 months, it went up to 1219. And actually, like I keep the lab, it has like stains like all over and everything, but like I keep that because like, man, it's been like a game changer for me.
Yeah. And that's just and I've had 15 people reach out about red light since your episode the last time. And then like
Awesome.
just over the years, like even like when I was playing, Juve actually sent some panels to some guys on the team and that kind of thing too. Like there's like Tyron Matthew, Jonathan Joseph, and Bernard McKinney. And I don't know if any of them really bought into it, but like, dude, that like once I was just spreading the gospel once it started doing wonders for me. Cause like back, like, cause part of when I found it is like you were advising me because I was overtraining and my hormones kept taking hits whenever I would overtrain. And then like that kind of just became a stabilizer. And then once I realized, or once you told me that I had to use it ridiculously regularly, because like I think that's kind of a misconception too. You can't just like use it once or twice a week. It needs to be like a 5, 6, 7 day a week thing. It needs to be in the routine. Once I did that, then now I was like, I don't think I've been below 850 for a while now.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You have to be consistent with it. You were designed to have light on all parts of your body every single day.
Yeah, and that's where I just think that's juicy. Like, and again, like we can talk about red light all day and all the hacks. Do you have anything else that's kind of like a staple, just like the red light for you?
Yeah, it's super boring, but like sleep. Like seriously, if you want to increase your testosterone, and I think we talked about the 3 B's last time.
Yeah.
Um, brain fog or brain function, bowel, and then boners. Like really like boners are like a major indicator of your libido, your and I don't, because I've actually had morning wood, but then my testosterone levels are like 400.
Yeah.
Last May I went vegan for the month, and like I was like super hard, like very frequently, but then my testosterone tanked. And so yeah, like if you do, I'm telling you, if you want to change your testosterone levels, sleep in accordance with the sun and do red light and watch what happens.
Yeah. Boom. And like, I know you go to some extremes with your sleep, and I think we talked about it briefly last time, obviously, like shutting down the circuit in the room, sleep in like more or less a grounded state, all those kind of things, shutting off red, like you're all lights are off, you're only seeing red light late at night, those kind of things. Any other thing, do you take any supplements for sleep? I know you're pretty natural in that world, but like any other advice for like sleep protocols or sleep hygiene?
I don't take anything to help me sleep. I do take supplements. Like I'll take like magnesium threonate. IMAG T is the exact magnesium that I take. I also take, occasionally I'll take like magnesium glycinate, but most magnesium that I take is IMAG T, and it's magnesium threonate. But I don't take that for sleep. The things that I found that are so important are just like what you said, shut stuff down. Like don't be checking your email, like don't be getting on your phone. And especially in the wintertime. In the summer, there's a greater buffer if you're wherever it is, if you're in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere, just obey the sun, go to bed. And yeah, the circuit in my room is cut off completely at the circuit breaker. I haven't had the circuit breaker on in my bedroom. I haven't had any electricity in my bedroom for like I don't need, I actually back when I lived in Dublin, Ohio, like
Yeah.
that's when I first learned about it, and it made sense to me, and I cut it off then. I did go to, when I was in school, when I was in chiropractic school, I did not shut off the circuit breaker. I was living in an apartment. I didn't know how to shut it off there.
Yeah.
But like, ever since I've been in Arizona, I don't think that, no, actually I was renting a house, when I first got out here, and I did have electricity flowing through the walls, but, now no electricity. And then another thing too, and this is not like, I don't get any kickback for this. I have no financial like connection with this company. It's just an awesome company, but it's called Magnetico. I sleep on a 20 Gauss magnetic pad. Not all magnet pads are created equally. I would highly recommend that you check out, I think it's just magnetico.com. Just search that. But I sleep on a 20 Gauss magnetic pad. And that creates a magnetic field around me that is going to help reduce the effects of the non-native electromagnetic frequencies from my neighbor who has Wi-Fi and is just blasting my cells.
Yeah, that worries, just because I've shut the circuit off to my bedroom a couple times, and then I just get tired of going to the basement. But so I shut that down. Like one of my biggest pet peeves about where I live right now is like I got some big dog power lines like running parallel to my window, and like who knows how much that's spitting out on me, like, so that'll still affect me, but the magnets will give it me a chance to protect myself a little more.
Absolutely. That and okay, so I used to have also a Faraday canopy. It was kind of ghetto, but it did work. They sell them that are like not ghetto looking. I mean, it kind of looks a little weird, but who cares?
What it's called? You said it's a Faraday?
Faraday,
Faraday.
Faraday, Faraday canopy or Faraday. It all goes back to like a physics phenomenology of basically it's conductive metal that's woven together, and it blocks these waves of the electromagnetic from penetrating that. So you're not going to be getting crushed by these non-native electromagnetic frequencies. Here's the thing though, I don't know if it's going to protect you from like 5G.
Yeah.
And then also, if you are going to go with a Faraday canopy, I would highly recommend that you ground it into the ground, not into like an outlet if you're going to, because that it will build up a charge. It's got to go somewhere. So like if you touch it, if you're inside, it's going to protect you from the waves. But once you touch it, like I don't know where that electricity goes to. It could like.
So is that like wrap a wire outside the window down to the ground?
Yeah, and just have that wire touching the Faraday canopy, and then you're grounded as long as that wire is conductive. And there's ways to test that too. You can that's the other thing. Like if you want to find out like how the power lines are affecting like your environment, there's a guy, Michael Neuert, Neuart. I think he's out of California. He has 3 different types of meters that can measure like the 3 different types of the 3 different types of electromagnetic frequencies, the radio frequency waves, alternating current, and the magnetic field. All 3 of them are related, and all 3 of them affect each other. But like I would highly recommend, if you're near like a power station or you have power lines near you, that I would test the like alternating current, radio frequency, and magnetic fields.
So yeah, test that, then start making purchases. Yeah.
Yep. Or move to Montana, man.
Yeah. Not a bad idea. And not, yeah. No, dude. Yeah. He's referencing, I went down on a 6-day trip up to like Montana, Idaho, and slept out in the woods and those kind of things. And it was just like, obviously like the drinking the water out of the river was incredible, but just being unplugged, like not looking at my phone. Yeah, just like, again, being in nature with my peripherals on, all those things was just incredibly calming, incredibly peaceful. It was awesome.
Hey, did you notice anything like brain, bowel, bladder, or no, sorry, brain, bowel, boner, anything?
Yeah, I mean, like everything still functioned correctly. Yeah. But like the brain fog, there's minimal, if any. I was surprised at my ability to stay nasal for like the hikes and all that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, I was just more at peace. Like the agitation in the brain, like everything, like the thought patterns, everything was very clear.
Yeah. So you felt a difference?
Yeah, I definitely felt a difference. And yeah, it's funny because you go out there and like I was like reaching for my phone kind of like the first day, and then I didn't even bring my phone. I took pictures some days, but yeah, like it was just it was a good unplug, good reset. Like, and then now it's just, as I transitioned back into the world a little bit, you realize like how triggered you get by the phone buzzing, or like having to, like I had some work stuff piled up that I had to get done, and how much agitation that was. And as opposed to like literally like 5 rock solid untouchable days where I was just like flowing, and like we were moving and shed hunting and those kind of things. But yeah, you just don't, and like the demands of nature are cool too. Like you always got to be doing something. You always got to have a fire going, because it was cold out there. You got like it just like I took a lot of little microcosms and lessons from it just because I hadn't done that before either for that amount of time. So when I like you get back, like we were hiking and like rucking till sundown, and when you get back, there's no resting, there's no decompressing on the couch with the TV or grabbing a drink or whatever. I don't do that anyways, but no, like you gotta go get the bear hangs down, get your food, you gotta get the fire going, you got to get out of your wet clothes, you got to do all these things, and then like next thing you know, like you're eating at like 9:30 and you're trying to get in bed. And yeah, so it's just like yeah, it was cool. Like there's a lot of little nuances that like I learned from.
Did you wake with the sun?
Kind of, we slept probably like 30 minutes ish past the sunrise, but like
Oh, cool.
most mornings though it was snowing, so we didn't get to see too much like sunrise, like that kind of thing. So it's like snowing or raining most mornings, and then it like clear up and then come and go. But like the area we're in is called the Selway, and like you could literally see like the cool thing about it was like you realize that like one, how protected we are in our houses and our cars and all that shit, because like the environment's a roller coaster, and we probably don't even notice it because we're just outside for a minute, car to house to car, whatever. But like you're in the environment there, so you got to be very conscious of it. And then it's this really cool environment anyways, where you can see the weather coming in, that you can see the snow coming, you can see the rain coming, you can hopefully see a break in blue sky and clouds for some sun for 20 minutes, but like you're like in it. And it just it was cool just to like have to react. And there, and just it being, I mean, it was whatever, the first week of April in Idaho, and so it's still relatively cold, and it's obviously cold at night, but you get used to being colder, and like you're kind of just cold during the day. It's not like a shivering cold, but you're just colder, and it's just like it's uncomfortable, and then it becomes a little more comfortable, and then like so it's like hedonic adaptation, like you get used to it. And it just I think that's cool, and it's always like a good way to test yourself on like what really is cold, what really is comfort, like all those things. I loved it.
How long did it take you to get comfortable with it?
I mean, like probably 2 or 3 days. Like I was never like uncomfortable. Like as long as I wasn't, I was like shivering twice maybe. Like because like we got soaked. Like it poured on the top of one of these mountains, and then after it poured, it snowed because we kept climbing elevation, and got cold there. And then especially like you're sweating too, like as you climb, because we're covering like 1,000, maybe 2,000 feet of elevation to get to these areas to find these antler sheds. So you're sweating on the way up, so you can't stop. And then so now you understand like the mechanical nature of like heating yourself too. Like there's multiple ways to burn the furnace kind of deal. So like now you just got to keep moving, and if you keep moving, you're fine. And then but then now when you get back to camp at night, it's like there's not too many things to do, keep moving. So you got to like kind of transition systems. And but like the cold feeling, what you're referring to, it was more or less because of like being wet. And then like just at the fire at night, like obviously like your back gets cold because you're facing the fire, and but it's still like you get used to it, and it's not like, yeah. And like, and then obviously showering in the river and stuff, so I get my cold exposure in, and that stuff still is like, it's just like it's like a jolt of life still. And then you get out of there and it's 20 some degrees, and you're just sitting there like kind of standing by the fire, but you feel incredible. And like you think you'd be really, really cold, but you're not. It's the same thing like we coach like with the ice exposure. But yeah, it was dynamite.
Before you went on this trip, were you consistent with cold water immersion?
Yeah, like I'm pretty I at least get a cold shower in almost every day, at least like I'd probably say 6 days a week. And then I do for sure one cycle of sauna and ice recovery cycles a week, and then sometimes twice. But yeah, so like I've been doing the cold exposure pretty regularly the last couple of years. Yeah, and then in football we always had the cold tubs, and like that was back when your ass had me doing 20 minutes up to my neck, like when I was going through the CFL and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. That low key, that was one of my favorite things, one of my favorite routines, because I carried that through the NFL, my entire NFL career, because like I hadn't found a lot of research on the length of time you're supposed to stay in the cold anyways, like, and guys would always stay in with their legs for like 20 minutes and those kind of things. So like, all right, And then the cool thing was like, one, like I kind of naturally found some breath work there just because you like calm yourself and you just want to like let the time pass. But like my teammates would always look at me like I'm crazy. And so in my head, that was an edge because I'll do something you won't do. And so that bred some confidence as well. But yeah. Anyways, like, yeah, the cold exposure has always been money for me. And then now I know the research on it, and all that. So like, it just makes sense. And it's like a sense of accomplishment because usually I do the cold in the morning.
Got you. Brian, 2 questions. Number 1, sleep quality when you were in Montana. And then number 2, what is your cycle of hot and cold? Like what's the ratio?
Yeah. So the you're saying the quality of sleep in Montana?
Yeah. Did you notice, like, do you normally dream? And then like, did you find that, like, if you do normally dream, did you dream less? Did you dream more? Do you like how was sleep quality? Obviously this is going to be subjective because I don't think you were wearing like Aura or Whoop or anything like that.
Yeah, no, very, very subjective. But and then also sleeping on kind of like a shit sleeping mat. But no, my sleep quality was better. I was dreaming. I for sure woke up one night with like a really vivid dream. And then obviously I always tape my mouth and those kind of things too. But yeah, but like just with the process of things, like we're probably going to sleep a little too late. Probably like 11ish, give or take. And just because like by the time we got back and the sun was down at 9, like we were cooking and like showering and doing all that stuff, and it'd be like 11 o'clock before we got to sleep. But anyways, sleep quality was high because we're waking up a little after sunrise and that kind of thing. And then the sauna ice cycles, some of the research I've seen, and then just like kind of what the performance world does, like there's not a lot of massive benefits past 3 minutes in the ice. So we go 3 minutes in our neck up to the ice, heavy sweat in the sauna. Sauna's got to be 180 plus, preferably like 200 area. And you can gauge it multiple ways. Yeah, it's a heavy sweat, or it can be like get your heart rate above 120 for 5 to 10 minutes. Another way to gauge it, like if you want to turn it into more of like a true recovery flush, and then you go back to the ice for 3 minutes up to the neck, another heavy sweat, and then you just finish with a dunk. And then I'm kind of on the dunk hold train just because I get like more of a norepinephrine high from it. So like I'll go under, and you get like the million dive reflex, the nerve on your face on top of the cold. So the cool thing is you'll get out of the sauna and your heart rate will be up from a heavy sweat. And then you get like, so then you catch, once you get in the ice tub, you catch your breath and you pinch your nose and hold, and you'll feel the coolest thing in the world to me with this, on top of getting out and feeling like this incredible zen, is my heart rate will be like thump, 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 thump. And then now I have this crazy space between my heartbeats, and it's really, really cool. And then like I do some crazy max holds in there too, but like if I hold my breath for a minute under the ice after the sauna, dude, like I feel like $1 million. Yeah. And then, but like to those of you listening, I've talked a little bit about it on the podcast before, but like that can be your workout. Like that, like the vasoconstriction that happens in the cold to the vasodilation that happens in the sauna, and back and forth, you have all these little muscles on the veins and arteries that need to do that work. Like we'll have, like with those metrics you're talking about, like the Oura ring, and some of our guys use the Garmin or a Whoop and stuff. They'll burn 700 plus calories and that's 45-minute cycle, 45 minutes to an hour, and you don't got to do anything. It's like chill. You can have music going in the sauna. Like it's like a vibe too. And you get out, the vasoconstriction, vasodilation flushes the muscles, flushes the lymph a little bit too. So usually when people come in or try it for the first time, obviously I was like, hey, see how you sleep at night, because it stretches your nervous system and you're like your comfort zone a little bit. And then like, do you have any soreness? I have them move around before they do it. And then they get in, get out, do the whole routine. They get out like, oh, my back pain's gone, like whatever. It's just like little things like that. People kind of sleep on it, but then you get the cold exposure, you get the heat exposure, heat shock, cold shock, proteins, blah, 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 blah. But it feels good. And I think intuitively, like same as like the 3 Bs is very intuitive, like brain fog, bowel movements, and boners, like feeling good. Like people need to return to feel. And like when you do feel good, what are you doing? And then now how do I optimize feeling good? Okay, maybe I get rid of the EMFs and I shut off the stuff and do the extreme levels of feeling really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's the tough thing. Like it's for like in my experience, like a lot of the things that I do that like you're talking about, it's so subtle. But like over time, I think that you're just building up this this basically like reserve that is like insurance, it's health insurance.
yeah, hell yeah. Which some people don't have, but and that you can develop naturally.
Yep.
But yeah,
It's the best, man.
yeah. And then I mean, like, and I always try and tangibilize things like that. Like, so like even like with how you painted the picture of like mitochondrial health with like light and the red light and those kind of things, like that's diminishing free radicals in my system. I know free radicals have something to do with cancer. Like, you know, it's just like I'm figuring like, so like that is me being, so who knows what the tipping point of me getting sick or me getting a really bad disease because my cells and my protein and mitochondria is all beat to hell from whatever modern life and diet and technology has done to it. So like, okay, like now I know I'm doing this because like I'm actually preventing myself from free radicals. So like I just try and find the easiest way in my brain to figure out why I should do something. So it just gives me a purpose to do it.
Totally.
But yeah, but no, I think that's dynamite. And then how you doing on time? Am I keeping you too long?
Dude, I can let's keep going, man.
That's
Whatever
my
you
guy.
want. Whatever you want.
That's my guy. That's my rider. But I kind of want to get into chiropractic with you just because we've talked about it in the past a bunch before. And I've talked about like Dr. Serrano's son-in-law, Dylan Seeley. I had him on too. He's nails. Like you guys are my 3 favorite doctors. But obviously the use of chiropractic by itself isn't like I don't want to say it's sustainable, but like it's one piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
So I had Dylan kind of give his variant of this answer, but like when obviously people come to you with, I'm sure, a variety of issues, back pain, hip, whatever it ends up being. But how do you think people should use chiropractic intervention?
Well, how I practice is very different than a lot of other chiropractors. I don't practice traditional chiropractic, like what I would consider traditional chiropractic, which is like adjust the neck, adjust low back, like side posture. I don't like it's more than just like traditional chiropractic is awesome. Like if it wasn't like I wouldn't have like continued to like finish chiropractic school. But like I don't crack people's backs. I don't crack people's necks. Sometimes I'll do like an adjustment somewhere. If I believe that like that region is fixated and it will benefit from it. But the more of what I think that we're missing is the sensory motor disconnect and connect. Basically it's brain and body. And like a lot of times it's discussed as like motor control. For instance, like feet. A lot of people think that flat feet are a bad thing and that they should get orthotics. And I don't agree with that at all. Like I think orthotics are, if my elbow doesn't work, I'm not going to put a brace on it to help it function. No, I'm going to use my brain to make my elbow work better. The foot is no different. And we also cannot look at something. We cannot look at the human body and tell whether or not it's functioning well or not. Like we have to have this feedback from the patient to the provider. It's this dialogue that has to go back and forth. For instance, like the feet, can someone do contract the plantar muscles, the bottom muscles in the feet? Can you do that? If you can't do that, that's an issue. And a lot of times what other providers might do is be like, oh, you can't do that, so we're going to put some arch support in. We're going to fit you for these orthotics. That's going to shut the brain down even more. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. You will have atrophy in the brain. The neurons will start to atrophy. You'll start to lose synapses. And I see this last time that we were talking. We have this 90-year-old lady who she was talking about how she had like doll legs and she couldn't sense her legs. And I believe that she has a lack of this sensation because her brain has started to atrophy. And she's more risk to falls. She can't build or maintain muscle mass. So it's what I do, or what I help like facilitate with the patient is basically, can you sense muscle contraction in all of your muscles? And if not, we have issues. The foot is very common. People do not know how to do small foot activation or plantar muscle activation. It's called small foot or short foot.
Yep.
So that's one area. People don't know how to, I'm just telling you some of the common ones.
Yep.
People don't know how to retract scapula. Like I's, T's, and Y's are big in like the rehab, in a rehab setting and a rehab protocol for someone like that has shoulder injuries. But like you can do I's, T's, and Y's till like you're blue in the face. It doesn't matter if you're not doing it correctly with good motor control. When you're doing a Y, can you activate the scap retractors equally? And most of the times people can't do it. Even if people like you think that you have a healthy shoulder, go into like that shoulder Y position and feel, can you do scapular retraction equally on the right and left? So try it. Just hold it isometrically overhead, lock your elbows, because we don't want any joint dependence coming from the elbow. And then what I want you to do is squeeze your shoulder blades together. And here's the other thing. It's going to be hard for us to talk about it on this, on this podcast.
I just want to feel it. Yeah.
But you like the thing that I find is people use their upper traps to retract their scapula and control their scapula way too much. We have to make sure it's coming from middle and lower trap and rhomboid. And it's something that you have to feel and have. If you don't know, which I find that a lot of people are so disconnected to their body that they can't feel these contractions. And if it, like I said, like you can do I's, T's, and Y's, and like you can do like so many times people come and they're like, oh, like I can just go work out. And I'm like, no, like, yeah, like you've been working out, you've been doing deadlifts, like you should be deadlifting, but it's how you deadlift. It's how you do these things that matter. And that's huge. Like, so like, I always talk about like, it's how you do it that matters. Like you can do like, I love Charles Poliquin, like, rest in peace. Like he's awesome. Like you can do German volume training, like till you're blue in the face. How you do it, how you do his exercises are what matters.
Yeah. You don't want to build strength on dysfunction. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, I like that. And then as far as like the feet and the concept of like being able to do things in like from a healthy foundation, I think Dylan was talking about that in reference to like brain mapping. So he tries to find like where like people will shake or can't contract or are using the wrong muscles and try and manipulate the body to turn them on, which makes sense to me. Like, cause like he did that. So like my ankle's been bucked up. I heard it when I was playing. But like I wasn't using my soleus, like, so like we manipulated like the ankle mobility stuff to target that. And anyways, I just think it's like a cool tactic to, we'll call it the chiropractic world, but like, yeah, like like muscles are just as much a part of influence on like the skeletal structure and chiropractic. I just think people get because like a lot of chiropractors, I'm not saying a lot of chiropractors, but like the good ones do address like the motor skills, the muscle firing patterns and that kind of stuff to help keep the problems of the skeletal system away. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's really the neurology. Like it's the nerves that control the muscles, then the muscles control the bones. And then bones will create the forces on on your body or your like adjacent joints, or like a weight, like if you're lifting like a barbell or like pushing a wheelbarrow. It's sensory motor control. Like I like the the more that I'm in practice, this is huge, man. And it's an active type of treatment. It's not passive. Like an adjustment is passive. Like soft tissue manipulation is passive. And I do soft tissue manipulation. I make adjustments. I do acupuncture. Those are passive things. We have to do active treatment. That means the patient must be activating pathways in working on motor control.
No, I love that. And then just because you mentioned it, the use of acupuncture and like what's called the pass and dry needling and things like that. I know you're a fan. How do you use that? Like, what do you think the benefits are, et cetera?
It's all a part of this sensory motor system, and acupuncture is going to send a barrage of sensory information to your brain. So that's half the picture. But when you send a sensory signal to the brain, you're going to get a motor response. Or you're going to have some type of response if the person is living. If they're not living, then you're not going to get the response. But everyone, a lot of times, you can put a needle in and you'll get what's referred to as a twitch response. You'll get that muscle contracting. That's really a passive contraction. And I love acupuncture. I love soft tissue manipulation. I love all these passive things. And they should be used. They should be used, and they help speed up. They help speed up this whole dysfunction, injury, rehab. They help speed it up. But the active activation and control of joints and muscles, that is super magical, and it's irreplaceable.
Yeah, that's interesting. Just because so back when the Texans PTs were always dry needling and doing those kind of things, it was always kind of a funny little thing. I'm not saying they weren't confident at what they were doing, but they only did it till they got the contraction. Is that what you're supposed to do?
Actually, according to one of my favorite acupuncture professors that I learned under, he does not like the twitch response.
We always the intuitively all the guys were kind of I don't know if that means everything's working. Yeah.
And here's the deal: if you stick a needle in, you're going to have a sensory response. Whether you pretty much everyone feels every needle that goes in. It could just feel like a little poke that's not very agitative. Sometimes it is painful, but you don't get a twitch response. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but no, if you put a needle into a live body, you're going to have a barrage of sensory information going to the brain. You're going to.
Yeah, I didn't know if I didn't know if their goal was to get the contraction, to get the neurological connection. I didn't know if that was the bit behind it. I haven't done a lot of research on dry needling.
According to acupuncture, the way that I do it, it's not necessary to get that twitch response. I get it, and it's whatever. I don't really look for it. I just want to activate that part of the brain.
Yeah, understood. No, that makes sense. I was just, for my own curiosity, I was trying to figure out if they were if there was something to it, if that was truly the goal. But I can see the benefit and maybe even the detriment, but I was just wondering.
I don't think it's anything negative, but definitely if you put a needle into a living body, there's going to be a sensory response, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And then have you ever done with the current through the needle?
Yep.
Yeah, so that also is going to be sending a barrage of it's going to be a ton of sensory information. It's going to be more than just the needle. It's going to be a current going through there. And then a lot of times with that, you get a motor response. You're going to get a motor response more frequently with that than just putting a needle in, because you got a current going in, doing that whole loop from body to peripheral nerve to spinal cord to brain, and then brain back to that peripheral nerve to the muscle to make it contract.
Huh. Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah, that's yeah. I just like, I like chasing all the edges. I want to know, because like I always caught some shit because I always want to know why. And like, and sometimes PTs and chiros and things like that. They won't always explain why. They're just like, kind of, hey, trust me. Like, no, that's what it's supposed to do. That's what I learned in PT school. And then it was just one of my biggest we'll say scars from the chiropractic industry. So I actually like probably 2 months prior, you remember when I, like, at your old shop where like we did the scans on my neck, like the upper cervicals and things like that. And
Yep.
you basically gave me like a full like spinal check and all those kind of things. And I came back and I went to this chiropractor just because I wanted to, because you'd got me all hyped up on it. Like I wanted to like get a new routine. I had a little bit of money. I want to like feel good. And I walk into this chiropractor and he does like that electric scan of my spine. I don't know what it was called, but like it basically said whether like each disc was like green or red, and like 85% of my back was red, 85% of my spine was red. And he goes, oh, football's messed you completely up. And like even like my upper cervical, I was like, I literally just had these scanned. I didn't tell him this, but like I'm pretty sure I'm good. Like you showed me the space, you showed me like what a healthy neck looks like, a healthy spine, like all those things. And to have him do that, and I just kind of like it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. So like I always sought out. I was very intentional when I sought out chiropractors. I had a really good one in Houston, really good ones in Houston as well. Then obviously I see you, and then Dylan Seeley here in town's phenomenal as well.
There is validity to that. What the red bars, the green bars, I think what you're talking about is like a thermography. What they're doing is they're measuring the temperature of the skin and the slightly deeper tissues, and basically looking for like a temperature differential. And if you have a difference in temperature, then chiropractors, some chiropractors believe that if you have that imbalance, then it's an imbalance in the nervous system, which that makes sense because the nerves are what control the vessels being either dilated or constricted, which that's going to control the temperature of the skin. But like we can't use like a thermography. We can't use thermography as an indicator of it's just that. It's thermography. That's it. It doesn't tell us about motor control. It doesn't tell us about like if you have any injuries from football. Like I know, I use thermography like in school like all the time, and I tested I've tested babies before, and they're off. Like their temperature differential is off. Like it's like if you were to measure me right now, I'm probably off because I'm like all jazzed up. Like
Yeah.
skin temperature is going to be thrown off. It can be thrown off by anything. It can be thrown off by like drinking coffee. Serious.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, which is why I just thought it was an interesting test. I didn't even know it was the skin temperature. I thought it was like my structural alignment or something. So
no, I mean, the way that we look at structural alignment is like you can do it visually, like through like posture, and then like next step would be like X-ray and like MRI. But if you're talking about like it's a scanner that just like runs up like the spine, that they're just measuring temperature. That's all it is.
That's interesting
Go
because
ahead.
well he proceeded to like, I want to say quote unquote like adjust accordingly. Like so like he had one of like the standing adjustment tables, but and all that, and he was like basically going through my entire spine and adjusting everything. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, and if you blast the spine with like a bunch of adjustments like that, you're going to get changes in those temperatures because you're changing that sensory input to the brain that changes the output, the visceral output to the vessels. That's going to change the temperature.
Yeah, I wish we would have done like another scan after the adjustment and seen if that would have changed anything. But
And they do. Like I've seen them. Like I don't use thermography, so like I don't have nothing to pitch here. But they do make changes. A chiropractic adjustment will change it, but like I always go back to, so what? Like we made the adjustment. Like, can you control your neck? Like in a simple way like that, to test to see the most basic, and I believe the most fundamental neck test is lie on your back, tuck your chin, and raise your head a quarter of an inch off the table. Can you hold it for 60 seconds? If you can't hold it for 60 seconds and your head's like bobbing up and down, and you should only feel contraction in the front of your neck, you should feel nothing in the back of your neck, nothing, not even a stretch, no sensation in the back. If you can't do that, your neck is unstable. And if you're unstable, like, why are we going to adjust your neck?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And then another, like I had Darlene Santor, who's again also a Scottsdale human. We got to connect you guys too. But she got adjusted and got an aneurysm from the adjustment, which is obviously like a freak accident. But yeah, anyways, I don't want to keep tearing apart the industry. But
and here's the thing also, and yeah, I need a job for tomorrow. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So the aneurysm, like if I would question, and I don't know the case, but like, if someone has an aneurysm after a chiropractic adjustment, I think that there's,
it may have been there or something, whatever.
Yeah, the vessels, something was compromised. Like, it's just like, you can't tear a tendon. Like I ruptured my Achilles tendon. If it was healthy, it wouldn't have ruptured. It wouldn't have. Like tendons, healthy tissues can survive pretty much anything.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, like I will tell you, like I hardly ever adjust anyone's cervical spine. Like people's cervical spine moves way too much, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. No, yeah, I think that's good advice. I just think the chiropractic industry is awesome and interesting, and I've seen people do it so many ways, and you can feel the confidence of people's hands too, and like, or like the ability to, like, maybe sometimes like hips and lower backs and things are tougher to adjust as well. But it's just I always like to get information out on chiropractic, but
the confidence of the provider, whether or not the patient senses like confidence coming from the provider, like that's huge. Like, yeah. If like not everyone loves us here at our practice, like I try to like do the best that I can, but like it's just not a good fit for everyone. But yeah, if you lack confidence in your provider, like it's going to be really hard to heal, even if the person is like a magical healer.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, it's the same with all medical industry too. Like I've had doctors where don't like, I think I told you the story where I was getting, because I had turf toe in college. You helped me get over that by getting barefoot as well. But they're putting cortisone shots into my big toe, and like you could tell this doctor had not done these shots a lot. So she was kind of like pulling the toe to distract it to get the shot in the knuckle of the top of the toe, missed like 4 or 5 times, and she's getting frustrated. And so I'm bleeding on top of this fiasco, and then she decides to go into the bottom of the toe, pushes really hard, needle goes all the way through the toe, comes out the other side, and she starts to spray the cortisone, because like my foot's flat up, started to spray the cortisone on like my shorts and my t-shirt. I was like, whoa, no. And yeah,
a topical treatment, topical
cortisone from a syringe. Yeah, but anyways, that's just my own little story to interject. But dude, thank you for hopping on. I don't take up too much of your time or any more of your time. As always, the genius of your brain and the extreme nature that you pursue health is inspiring. So you're the man.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me on, Brian.
Easy. Yeah. Then people can find you at Infinity Spine out in North Scottsdale. On like the social, like your website's infinityspine.com, correct?
Yeah. Website is infinityspine.com, and social media, which we are not super active on, which I'm proud to say. Yeah. But Instagram, it's at Infinity Spine. And yeah, that's Facebook too, but yeah, it's Infinity Spine Center.
Yeah, holler at the boys. All right, appreciate you,
Awesome.
John. Yep.
All right, man.
Bye.